I'm Lindsay. I work at the Cora J. Belden Library, and we're on site at the Carbone's restaurant, Carbone's Prime here in Rocky Hill. Thank you to everybody for joining us today. It is 97 degrees out today. It is boiling hot. So we're crossing our fingers that our equipment does not overheat. There's a very strong chance that it could get a little too hot and our equipment could shut down, but please bear with us. We're doing the best that we can. Again, I'm Lindsay. I work at the Cora J. Belden Library. Joining me here today is Paul. He
Hello.
works at Carbone's.
Yep.
Huge thank you, Paul, for
Thanks for having us.
yeah.
Thanks for having us. We're really excited to be on your show. So we're gonna walk through what it is to be on a food truck today. We picked the perfect day for it. It's scraping on 100 out here. It's well over 100 on the truck. So this is part of the food truck experience. It's part of what you do when you run a food truck. So we're super excited. I've got our chef Matt with us here today. You can't see him yet, but we're going to get on board. We're going to walk through the truck. We'll talk about the truck a little bit. We are Carbone's, and we are 2 restaurants strong. We have another brand on the truck. It's the Paul and Vinny's brand. We'll talk about that. Matt's going to make us a fritter today, and we're going to make a panini. These are items you can get off the truck on any day. This truck is here in the parking lot of Rocky Hill behind our restaurant of Prime, doing a lunch residency, and we are open for lunch Wednesday through Friday, 12 to 2 o'clock. 11:30 to 2:30. The hours were open. Unfortunately, the next 2 days we are not open because of the severe heat, and we wouldn't expect you all to come out. So try us next week after Wednesday. So there you go.
Couple quick things. We have everybody muted on Zoom. Again, I'm going to be trying to walk around with a video camera and film everything for everybody. If you have questions, we're going to try to take questions as we go along. Please post your questions in the chat. And I do have a lovely coworker here, Nicole. She's filming me right now. We're going to switch off in just a second, but Nicole's going to be monitoring everything. So if you have questions, please post those in the chat, and we'll get those asked for you. So let's get started. Let's keep rolling. It's very hot out here. Bear with me just a second. We're going to switch the camera over.
So we're gonna go on the truck, and we're gonna go on gingerly so we don't trip over our mic cords.
Okay.
So
Thanks.
if you want to just really quickly scan. So the way this
Sure.
whole thing works out here is you'll see there's the restaurant, and then to your right is the tent. If you want to just take a shot, and
Sure.
So
So
what
we
we're
can.
doing basically is we're running this truck, and I'll show you the front of the truck.
So
If you
here's the
swing around
tent.
this way.
We'll
So
come
basically, it's
around
a
nice and
regular
slow.
food truck setup. We have our menu is the same every day, and it's set up just like you would see it at a fair or anything like that. It's just that we keep the truck parked here, so that you know we're here and you can come find us. So the Paul and Vinny's concept is a ghost kitchen that we run in Carbone's, and we came up with the concept. You're going to hear it get a little loud. That's the hood fans you're listening to.
We did. That's why we're marked. We're trying to mitigate and hopefully deal with the fan sound. So hopefully everybody can hear this.
So we're going to talk real close to our mic so
Yep.
that you can hear us. So it is a little loud in here. This is Matt. This is Chef Matt.
You can say hi.
Matt was one of our original hires in Bloomfield when we opened that restaurant in, I want to say, 2014. I'm not sure. I never can remember. But Matt has been running the food truck up here in Rocky Hill and off-site for the summer, doing a great job. We have I had a menu. I'm sorry. So that, like I said, the menu is going to stay pretty much the same. We do specials and we change things from time to time, but generally it's the menu stays the same. If you look us up online, you can see that the truck menu. If you go to I believe, the Carbone's website. You'll see the information for the True Truck. You'll also see the Paul and Vinny's logo all over the place. That's the Ghost Kitchen. So the Paul and Vinny's idea is if you're in a 10-mile range of Bloomfield, our Bloomfield store, that's where it comes out of. You order online, and delivery is through DoorDash or Chow Now or one of those types of delivery things. You can pick up down there. We have a back of the house door to pick up with a phone number you can call. So some of the stuff is off that menu, and some of the stuff is the things they're doing strictly here. So what we really wanted to do is show you the inside of a food truck. We did not want to show you this at 117 degrees now is the running temp. So we would prefer to show you at about 75 degrees. But basically, this is the layout of the truck. So the food is designed to be cooked behind us on the equipment, and then it funnels to the front, and then it funnels to the pickup window, and the gals will come to we'll. So it's basically what you would imagine. What you wouldn't imagine is the heat, which we're going to talk about just all day long. And then what you might not understand either is how small it is on here, and that's the cool thing about a truck. It's basically a whole kitchen condensed with no extra space. So when you look at the layout, this is your total refrigeration. These two units there and there, and this here that's the whole kitchen. So this truck is designed so that if we load it up and then we drive off wherever we're going to go, it's completely self-sufficient. There's nothing else here. We've got hot and cold running water. We've got a freezer. We've got all the equipment you would need. Now, everything's very small. You couldn't run this without having to stop and redo and reset and restock everything. But generally, that's how it works.
And of course, it's a food truck, so it is mobile.
Absolutely.
So you can drive all over the state.
Oh yeah. Oh, we've been everywhere in the state. In fact, we've got we just came back from. That was Salem, and we're in 2 weeks. We'll be down in Waterford for an event. So yeah, we've been all over.
Cool.
Not this particular truck, but we've had other trucks that went as far as Key Biscayne. So it's a long story. You don't
up in New Hampshire? Nice. All right.
No, the one in Florida.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So, but we've been to New Hampshire too. So, anyways, this was a concept developed during the first throes of COVID when we were shutting down.
Yep.
Very
tough time for restaurants
Absolutely.
all around.
So it was a
genius
redefine
idea.
as you go, and the interesting drill there was it was a lesson in learning and developing and implementing new sources of income. Alternative sources of income was the key.
Yep.
So the truck idea was generated out of that. The Paul and Vinny's concept came out of that. There's actually 2 other concepts that go along with this truck. And our 3 restaurants were shut down for a little while, but they reopened for takeout, and so it's been an interesting couple of years, and I'm very happy to tell you that we're doing well at our restaurants. We're
That's
coming
awesome.
back in Bloomfield this week. We just reopened on Mondays, and we reopened for lunches starting today.
Yep.
So we're really pushing to get back to normal.
And I can say I've actually been to the restaurant inside in the air conditioning. I've been twice.
Yeah.
I snuck in when you didn't know I was here.
Nice.
The food was amazing.
Oh, good. Very good.
So highly recommend it.
So this is how we'll start. Well, this is our introduction to the folks at Cora J. Belden, and we're so excited to be with you guys.
Yeah, thank you again.
We've done the Bloomfield Public Library.
Yep.
And now we're doing it with you all up here.
Yep.
Very excited to be here. And we'll do another one inside in the air
Yeah,
conditioning.
this is awesome. You don't know
So-
too many people that are willing to give you a behind-the-scenes look at a restaurant and a food truck. So
And that's the thing.
very
so
lucky.
For the folks watching, you think of it, ask us. We'll be more than happy. We're more than happy to tell you what we're doing here right now, or if you got any questions in general, feel free to shout them out.
Yep.
So Maddie's going to get started on one of the items on our menu. I'm going to make sure that I'm not in your way. This item is a potato zucchini fritter. So we wanted to come up with an appetizer that was basically vegetarian, that was crispy, that was hot. Unfortunately for today's. So this is what Matt and the owner, Vincent Carbone, developed as one of the menu items, and that's generally how our menu works. There are classics that have been on our menus since the 60s. There are things that we're doing just for a weekend special that we wanted to try. And so it's in our neck of the woods, the way we do things. It's usually us generating something that we thought was really cool, or we saw these somewhere.
Yeah.
And then we said, we should try that. It's a really good concept,
Yeah.
and let's give it
Do
a
you
shot.
no? I know like zucchinis are in season. Do you try to do produce that's in season and
Absolutely.
fresh and cool?
Hence the zucchini today.
Yep.
So that's
So
the key there, is to try to harness, obviously local, because the local would be the freshest, I should say.
Right.
So you're trying to match your ingredients to your seasons and what's available. I think the New Englanders really appreciate that, especially
yeah.
because it's such a short growing season here.
Right.
So the tomatoes that are not yet there but are coming very soon.
Almost.
We're getting excited for peppers and tomatoes, and this is the time, and that's really great. And then the squashes follow up in the fall and
Yep.
everything. So it's
Yep.
New England is great for that.
So we
So
just
that
put in
was
shredded
quickly-
zucchini.
Yeah,
and
that was a regular potato, all-purpose white potato, and a zucchini, and he just shredded all that up.
So
now he's
whole
gonna put in
zucchini,
salt
whole
and
potato.
pepper.
Salt and pepper.
You salt it now so it gets all the liquid out.
Yep.
Because there's a lot of liquid in both of these. And if you don't, it just gets soggy.
So
There
we're
you
trying to
go.
draw out some of the water.
Very good. So this is, what kind of cheese is that?
Smoked mozzarella.
So Scamorza is a smoked mozzarella. Are you going to grate that right into the mix? Okay. Very good. Okay, so keep them separate. That's the name of the game. So the salt and the pepper goes on the zucchini and potato first. It gets set aside so
And
that
then-
we draw some of the moisture out of there.
Right. Give
Could
it
you
some
do
time.
that the night before?
So, Paul,
Okay.
if you could just kind of repeat what he's saying, because
Yep.
we can't pick him up on the mic.
So you could do this ahead of time, and you can put it in a strainer, and some of the moisture will come out, but you're going to have to squeeze this, and you're going to have to wring it out to get it to get real dry. Because the name of the game generally in any kind of fritter is that the ingredients have to be dry. You have to squeeze them out.
So, and
So
this
there we
is
go. We got
an
that was the
egg going
Scamorza
in?
cheese grated into a different bowl. It's going to drop in a whole egg. Looks like 2. Very good. And then we're going to mix that up. Is there going to be flour in this? Uh-huh.
cornstarch. Okay.
So Matt
Okay.
just said the magic word. This is a gluten-free dish. Very, very cool. And the cornstarch in lieu of the flour will make it a little crispier too. So, a neat trick to remember if you are on a gluten-free diet.
Swap in cornstarch.
Yeah. Yep. Rice flour Matt just said rice flour is a substitute for cornstarch. Cornstarch is a lot easier to find. And rice flour is tricky in my experience anyways. A little trickier to work with. It's not so cut and dry. It's definitely going to be a good moisture absorber, but you got to cook it a little bit. So people that have experienced or have
Good to
worked with
know.
rice flour would know that.
Good to know.
It's
Yeah,
one
yeah.
of those things you got to kind of mess with it a little bit to get a feel for it.
Yeah.
But a really good flour alternative as far as using it as a thickener, like in a roux. So a really good substitute.
Perfect. And Matt's squeezing all the water out.
So Matt's giving it a good squeeze. Now you can do this a bunch of different ways. If you've got hands the size of Matt, that's fantastic. You can do this. If you got my size hands, you could do this in a dish towel. You could do this in cheesecloth. That would be the best. I think the best way I've ever seen is, for me anyways, is to hold it and to spin that cloth.
Yep,
and
like almost like a
careful not-
tourniquet.
Yeah, try don't rip it, but it's like it will get a lot of that moisture
Okay,
out for you.
cool.
It's a great technique. So we just went in with the zucchini and the potato, the
And-
egg, the Scamorza cheese, salt and pepper. What is this? This is Romano cheese. So 2 kinds of cheese. Fantastic. So the Romano is also is a salt substitute as well. So
Yep.
if you did want the direct pinch of salt in there, which is going to draw that moisture out, you would lay this out, let it sit for a minute, squeeze the heck out of it, and you can do it without the salt. The salt really helps to get that moisture out. I don't know if you could see that, but that's what he really got.
That's
a
all
lot
the water
out of
that
it.
came
Right.
out. That's a lot of water.
So you can imagine that hitting the fryer later. You know, if you've ever seen a drip of water in a hot pan of oil, that's what's going to happen. So the more you get out of that, the crispier you're going to get your fritter to be.
Okay. And we just added a whole bunch of cornstarch.
So we just added a bunch of cornstarch. Now, what we'll do, and usually after we shoot these, we'll send you a recipe if anybody's interested.
Oh, amazing.
I'll
So
scale it down. Matt and I will scale
Perfect.
it down so it'll make like, say, 6 or 8.
Okay.
And then, you know, like 1 zucchini kind of thing.
Awesome.
And we'll get that to you in an email, and if anybody's interested,
yeah,
they
we can
have
share that. Thank you so much. So
That's-
everybody can try to make this at home. That's great.
So this great substitute. I mean, obviously you could substitute yellow squash with this, but you could play with this a little bit, and any vegetable that you can. I'm thinking in terms of like broccoli rabe, spinach. I would try this with sweet or hot peppers.
Yep.
If you
That-
cut them
that
and
would
let
be
them sit, they'll
tasty,
get
yeah.
and same thing. Give them a little squeeze, get that moisture out of there.
Yep.
So sweet potatoes is great for a fall one. If you're going to do this with a squash, you still can, but that's really, really watery. So then you bake it.
Right.
That's
okay.
what we'll do
okay.
in the fall.
Okay. Good tip. Good tip.
So now Matt's kind of doing this. This is why the recipe is funny. So the more moisture you squeeze out, obviously the less cornstarch you're going to use, but you also have to have a feel. It's almost like I'm making a dough. So you're going to roll in the cornstarch, a little additional cornstarch, just to get you the consistency you're going to want. Matt's going to know when he's done by the feel of it more than anything. So even though we're going to write this in a recipe,
Yep.
the old adage is a recipe is a guideline, not a set of rules.
Try,
So-
and try again until
Exactly.
you get it right.
So if you're making this at home and it looks a little wet, you're probably right. Add a little more cornstarch. If it turns into a ball and it's too tight to scoop, then you probably did too much cornstarch. All right, so this is just a regular ice cream scoop. He just scooped it into a neat little ball.
If people don't have an ice cream scoop at home, can they just do it with
You
by
could
hand
do
or
it,
a
you
spoon?
absolutely. So we
Okay.
do it like that for portion control, so that we get the same portion every
so
time.
about golf ball size.
But absolutely, you could pick this up and form it in your hand, no problem.
Perfect.
Now we're going to cook this in a fryer later, which not everybody has at home too.
Right.
So a pan on the stove with this is going. We're using straight vegetable oil here. So a pan on the stove with vegetable oil in it. If you don't have a candy thermometer and you want to do this and you want to use it as a deep fryer, I suggest it. You put the thermometer in there. You bring the oil up to about 350 degrees, maybe a little under,
Mm-hmm.
and keep it there. So
Can you substitute, like if you had an instant read thermometer, like a meat thermometer, could you just stick it in like quickly to read the temperature?
they won't go that high generally. If you have a
Okay.
meat thermometer that'll go to 350, sure, that'll
Yep.
work.
Okay.
But usually it's the candy thermometers or
Yeah.
a higher read thermometer.
Okay. I
if
know
you
a
look
lot of
for it-
people might have a meat thermometer or
Yeah.
an instant read versus
Yeah.
a candy thermometer.
If it goes
so
to 350, usually they
Okay.
stop at somewhere. No, they go that high.
they should.
So just do like throw a little bit in to see if it fries.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
what can
you
you
could put a drop in to see where you're at.
Okay.
If you get a reaction, you're probably right there.
Okay.
So, but that's that magic temp between like
Yeah.
340, 350.
Yep. Okay.
So the meat thermometers go that high. Absolutely, you could put a meat thermometer in there.
Yeah.
The trick is though, is don't put it on high and then turn it down when you hit temp. You put it on low and wait for it to come to temp. That's the
Perfect.
trick to using a fryer later.
Okay. Good to know. All right.
Okay.
So we're moving over
Now,
to the griddle now.
I will tell you this too. We're going to go past the griddle. We're going to go in the fryer later. But
Okay.
this could be done on a saute pan too with a very small amount of oil. If you're worried about the amount of oil that you're using or immersing it, same thing. Get a pan hot with oil.
Okay.
Not crazy hot, but medium heat, and you can do this in a pan as well. They're going to come out flat. They won't keep the round,
Okay.
but it'll be the same exact thing.
Okay. I'm just gonna kind of
Yeah, you gotta
scoot over here
check
so
that
we
in
can
so
try
you
to
can see
see
those
what's going
dropping
on
in.
inside.
So you can coat it if you want it with cornstarch or rice flour, just so it doesn't.
All right. So Matt just said you can coat it with some cornstarch or rice flour so it doesn't stick.
Yeah, 'cause at home you might have it's not as deep.
Yeah.
You might have a little.
Yeah, so if they hit the bottom, That's why we use the fry later, so they don't hit the bottom. And so a little dredge and some cornstarch or some rice flour generally will keep it from sticking to the bottom because it won't be too wet.
Perfect.
So you see that scoop was all about a portion control because ours are going to be flat too. So there you go. The immersion is great for speed,
Yep.
but you can turn this over.
If
In
you're
fact,
doing this
if
in
you,
a pan.
yeah, that would be the image of the pan. If they're cooking like that, you would just take a spoon or a fork and just flip it over.
So once it kind of gets to like a golden brown.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
So Matt's going to do that. He's just going to flip one over so you can see it.
Oh, there we go. Here, let's see if we can. There we go.
Yeah. So and you're just looking for an even golden brown. And you're not, remember, it's just zucchini and potato. So like you would cook a French fry,
Okay.
you would do the same thing. Once it's golden brown, it should be cooked through. You're going to get that nice softer part of the zucchini.
Okay.
And the potato should be crispy on the outside and tender in the middle.
All right. So, sorry, my hand's starting to get a little tired holding this camera. Woo. All right. So if people were cooking this at home, with a pan, is there like an approximate time that they should aim for, or just kind of look at the color and sort of try to judge based on the color?
I agree with Matt. Matt said 3 to 4. I'm saying 4 minutes to a side. Yeah,
Okay.
somewhere around there.
And then try to flip it and.
If you just grab a quick picture of that. Now Matt's gonna. So you can see how they're floating. You'll notice the bubbles will start. It won't be as bubbling. Is that a word? Bubbling. It won't
We'll
be
say it is.
as bubbling. So it'll start to calm down. Then you know that now your heat has penetrated the middle. Your moisture is out, and now you're just looking for some nice color. What's the sauce on this, Matt? We use a tomato vodka cream sauce for this, but that's just because that's what we like. But you could put anything. You could put tartar sauce on this. You could put an aioli on this. You could put a flavored mayonnaise. You could do a marinara sauce. You could do chopped tomatoes. You don't even need a sauce.
Probably handle some heat too. So if you like.
Oh yeah.
Like,
absolutely. Yeah.
A hot sauce.
Sure. This would be great with hot sauce.
My husband really, really likes hot, spicy food.
So it would be fun to do this buffalo style. To hit it with a little bit of blue cheese dressing and a little bit of Frank's hot sauce on top.
There you go.
So you could do a buffalo, and that's really the key. Here you go, Matt.
All right. Here's the finished product.
So if you consider that just a chalkboard or a platform, you could write your own toppings for that. So you can make them smaller, you can make them bigger, you can heat them up. You could chop hot pepper in the mix if you wanted to. A nice fresh chopped jalapeno in there would be great. And then we're going to pick one up, we're going to dip it in that sauce. They're going to be hot, so we're going to give them a second.
Maybe we'll give it a minute to cool off.
So there you go. So that's a cool way. That's how we serve them here. We serve them on a little tray with a dipping sauce. Wonderful little appetizer.
Perfect.
No meat, very simple. And you can make these ahead, and you can leave the fridge made in the fridge a couple hours.
So if people wanted to kind of make this ahead and take it for lunch the next day, does it kind of keep okay, or does it kind of get a little soggy?
It's not going to be crispy, but
you could. Yeah, you could.
Okay.
Yeah, you definitely could. Now, if I was going to reheat them after I held them, I would probably do them in an oven, like a 300-degree oven, 5 minutes,
right.
6-8 minutes. So if you had a small toaster oven at work,
there you
sure,
go.
you could get away with that.
Cool. All right. So there you go. That definitely looks easy to pack up and take with you to lunch.
And remember,
or stop by the truck and get some lunch at Carbone's.
Exactly. And the one last note on this one: the cleaner your oil, or the more light your oil, the less absorption. So if you were going to do them for the next day, the lightest oil you can find.
Okay.
If that's what you were going to do. All right. That was fantastic. Thanks, Matt.
Cool.
That was great. Now what we're going to do is another item off our menu. And Lindsay, I wanted you to see this.
All right.
I don't know if you can get a shot, but that is the menu. I was looking for that before.
Do you have this on PDF or digital copy?
This is available, I believe, on the website.
I can also scan this at the library, and we can email it to everybody too.
I'll send you the PDF. Not the PDF. I have the scan.
There we go.
Which I can send to you.
Okay.
No, but this is, you can find this online.
So would you say that the food, I mean, the food truck, you guys do a lot of like lunch menu items. Is it maybe a little bit more casual than the full restaurant
Oh,
setting?
absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely. I mean,
okay.
you're sitting outside in a tent.
Yep.
So you come as you are. And
So-
I would suggest shorts
Yeah, especially today.
for the next
Woo!
2 weeks.
Woo!
So, but that I wanted to show you. So there's the zucchini fritters right there. All right, very cool. The chips are delicious. So
Cool.
this is a cool spot. If you were to come, we have the beverages lined up out here. We have a couple of cool seltzers and beers and things like that. You know, try us out. Try that. It's delicious. So now, I'm sorry. I had this for a reason. So I'm so sorry.
No
So
problem.
the next item up, we're going to make one more thing. We wanted to show you this one. We call this our Cali Itali. It's a caprese piandina. Most people would call it a panini for a recognizable word. So basically, we're just going to make a tomato mozzarella prosciutto sandwich.
Okay.
And I love this one too because with the tomatoes that are coming up and a lot of the produce coming up, this is sub heaven here. We're going to show you how we do it.
Yeah.
And then you need to take this and run with this all the way to October.
Awesome.
There's a lot we can do. All right, Matt, I'm going to give him the description. First of all, he's got to his right, that is a straight up basil pesto. We do our pesto with no nuts here, so that it's not an issue for people that are on a nut-free diet. If you want to make the pesto like we make it, it's fresh basil, it's fresh parsley, garlic, Romano cheese, extra virgin olive oil, salt and pepper.
Cool.
That's it.
And no pine nuts. Usually
No
it has pine nuts. That's
Now, the
cool.
pine nuts are, I'm not anti-pine nuts. I love the nuts in there. Pine nuts aren't even my favorite. I'd rather have, believe it or not, a toasted, what's macadamia nuts. Oh, so delicious. So good.
That sounds
So,
amazing.
Anyways, you can play with that too. But we do it no nuts just because we put it in a lot of things, and it's one of those things you have to be careful with. So it's one less thing people have to think about. It's kind of the way we do stuff here anyways.
That's great, yeah.
So
Actually, speaking of allergies, if people have specific allergies, gluten allergies, dairy allergies, if they come to the restaurant, are you guys able to like modify dishes?
Absolutely.
Cool.
So our menu is actually reflective of that, where there are. Oh, we got a question.
Oh, we got a question.
Oh my God. So on our menu, we have a code. It's GF or MGF.
Right.
So gluten-free
Gluten-free.
means the dish is gluten-free.
Yep.
Modified gluten-free means ask your server and we can make it gluten-free.
Okay,
So a
good
simple
to know.
explanation of that is like if you ordered a chicken parm, which is it's a breaded chicken. We'll grill the chicken. So then we'll make you a chicken parm, but we'll grill the chicken and make sure there's no breadcrumbs on it.
Cool.
So simple as that. So yeah,
Awesome.
the answer is absolutely yes.
Awesome. That's good to know for anybody that might have allergies. And we had a question. What was the question?
So someone was asking whether it's possible to eliminate cheese from the fritter from before.
Yeah. You're gonna eliminate the cheese. So you're gonna lose. You basically will lose the richness but it will work. Yeah. Yeah, you're
So,
probably going to end up
yeah,
having
so it
to use
should
a
hold
little bit more
together.
cornstarch.
Okay.
I would definitely suggest some salt
Yep.
because you're going to need it. But yeah, absolutely, you could do that. No question about it.
Perfect. So if you have a dairy allergy, you can still
Exactly.
make
Yep,
Cool.
can be done. So now our next dish, we're going to start with, what is that?
that.
That's a pizza crust.
All right.
So we've used prepared pizza crusts. We make our own. We've also used naan bread for this. You could use, I'm thinking you could use almost anything that you can flip over like a tortilla. So these are store-bought, or you could make these yourself. The naan, same thing. You can make your own. So this is the vehicle is going to get us where we want to go. So you could sub this. Won't work with lettuce. Well, yeah, it kind of would. I bet you I could do it. All right. So what do we got? We got the pizza crust, or the naan, or whatever we're going to use for bread. We've got an avocado. We've got a tomato. We've got mozzarella cheese, fresh basil. Now these items may not look as appetizing to you as they do, but you don't forget we're in 120 degrees
They
right now.
wilted a little bit.
We wilted a little bit.
We're wilting a little bit out here.
This is sliced prosciutto. Now, once again, we're talking subs all day long. It could be sliced turkey. It could be sliced roast beef. It could be a grilled chicken. It could be any protein that you wanted to put in there. You could do this with shrimp if you wanted to. So we're going to use prosciutto di Parma because we absolutely love that, and it goes so well with tomato and cheese. That's how we're going to do it. All right, Maddie, what's first? So Matt's going to put down a little bit. All that is drawn butter. We clarify the butter so that we don't use oil. You could use a vegetable oil in there if you want. You could use a cooking spray if you wanted to. That grill's running probably at 400. Yeah, so good hot start on this.
And this is the pesto, the no-nut pesto.
Then this is the no-nut pesto. Same thing with the pesto. If you wanted to do it without the cheese, you could and call it dairy-free, no problem. So a good slathering of that.
Nice and thin layer.
Aha. So there's something you don't see every day.
Stand back a little bit.
Yeah. So Matt puts the pesto on the side and then browns the pesto on the other side. That's
Cool.
not common. So
Yeah,
that's
I was
something
gonna
that he
say.
developed here. It's really slick, and you'll see when he flips it over and cuts it. It's really, really a neat way to do that. That was the mozzarella cheese. That
Cheese
is
going.
a loaf mozzarella that's been sliced. We tried this with the store-bought and the homemade fresh mozzarella. It gets very weepy and watery.
Mhm.
So we use the loaf mozzarella because it's way drier. When it melts, it doesn't release moisture, so the sandwich stays way more handleable. There's our sliced tomato.
Ooh, yellow
Some salt
tomato.
and pepper
nice.
on that.
Salt, pepper.
So that could be a red tomato, that could be a
Green.
orange, a green. Yeah,
Sure.
yep.
Ooh, I can tell you, holding my hand with the camera over the griddle, it's getting hot.
Yeah, I know. You're getting work. You're getting the workout today.
Yeah.
I'm just standing here holding this light microphone.
Got
So
some basil.
fresh basil on there. So the cool thing is, we put that basil pesto on there. We're browning it, so you're going to get a cooked kind of
and the
basil on
fresh.
one side and the fresh too. So
Nice.
it's kind of the best of both. Peeking over Matt's shoulder, he's cutting up the avocado. Now, if you wanted to, if the avocado's really, really ripe, like I'm looking at this one, and you're getting some pretty good slice on that. If that avocado was really ripe, when you flip this over, Maddie, would you be able to smear the avocado? Yeah, so you could.
So you can, if it's
So
overripe
it could be
or
a
very
smear.
ripe.
So
Okay.
say we had chips and salsa last night, and you had some leftover guacamole. Oh yeah, I'm
Try to
putting that
reuse
on.
it.
I'm going on there with that. I'm
Uh-huh.
using that.
And I can see we're trying to stack everything on one side.
Yeah. So this is the prosciutto. And I said prosciutto di Parma, tough to find. Excuse me, tough to find.
Got cables flying around here.
So you can find the di Parma at like an Italian specialty store. So say around here, like D&D Market, or maybe even West Side would have it.
Okay.
They'll have regular prosciutto. Just tell them to slice it real thin. And usually around the holiday time, the major grocery stores will have the di Parma too. The di Parma is a little bit more money, but definitely worth it. It's so much better. It's
Okay.
just delicious. So Manny just flipped that up. Now you can see that browned pesto on the side, so it didn't burn.
Brown.
So that's really cool. So if you were worried about that was going to burn on that side, you can see that it's not. It's got a nice brown and a nice crust on it. And the press. So he just put a weighted, that could be a dinner plate. If it was my house, that would be 2 dinner plates.
Okay.
So
or maybe like a cast iron pan.
anything that you got, as long as you don't mind it touching your food, I'm good with it.
Okay.
So-
well, we might want to be careful with a dinner plate because you wouldn't want it to crack over the heat.
I do it on mine. I usually use like a plate that's not like a super flat one, but anything with an edge, especially so you can get your hand on it. So, but any weight will work. And these are actually, you can find these. You can buy these in like cooking, what do you call it? Cooking supply stores or online.
Okay.
So I think
And
that weight is a 2-pound weight. I think something like that, 2.5 pounds, something like that. So
My camera might have just dimmed ever so slightly. So if people are noticing that the camera's a little bit dimmer. Okay, thanks, Nicole. Nicole says no.
So we see the melted mozzarella. All right, let's get another. We'll get another tray. And like I said, this is on our menu. This is something we make every day. This is the portion. So our lunch portions are substantial. You're not going to go away hungry, I guarantee it. Look at that. Go ahead. and get it.
Beautiful.
Close shot of that. That smells fantastic. That really smells good.
Yeah.
So,
Quick too.
welcome to being on the food truck. Do you feel
Yeah.
like you're working?
Oh, I'm. Yeah. I'm like, can we get off now?
So that that's your day. You know, now we turn everything off and
Yep.
we clean everything up, but that's generally how it works on a food truck. Matt is here doing this every day. We'll be doing this, I don't know, probably at least to the end of August, maybe longer if we get the weather. And if you see us out there, we're usually changing the menu as we do different events, but usually there's very similar items to what we're doing here today. So, and we like to change things up just to give it freshness.
All right. Let me check with Nicole. Let's see if we've got any questions.
Awesome. Maddie, thank you so much. I can't tell you thank you enough. It is now
Awesome
gone
job,
to
Matt. Thank you.
it is we're dropping. We're at 116. We're getting cooler.
Okay.
Fantastic.
I can't tell.
Neither can I.
I think my hand's shaking a little bit from holding this camera the whole time too. Apologies if the image is shaking a little bit. Do you want to? Can we maybe step off the truck and see
Sure.
if there's questions?
Sure.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna try to move slowly so I don't make people sick.
I'm gonna if you stop 1 second, I'm gonna grab your mic cord and off you go.
All right. Here we go. Okay. This is Nicole. Thank you, Nicole. She's doing all our sound for us. Oh, that's so much better.
Very good.
Sure. Yeah. If you wanna, we're gonna switch hands with the camera. There we go.
You did great. You did great. Matthew, thank you again. If we could get Matt, this is Chef Matt Ambrose. Say like he's been with us for a long time. How many years, Matt? 10 years. 10 years this year? Wow! Congratulations. That's awesome. So that's the day in the life of Matt Ambrose. If anybody wants to know,
I give
Chef
you credit.
Matt. Yeah,
It's hot.
it's tough to keep your glasses on in there, isn't it?
Yes, yes, it is. All right. Well, I think
Very
if
good.
we don't have any questions, maybe we'll say thank you to everybody for joining us.
Yeah, and I want to thank you guys for coming down. This has been
Yeah.
fun. We like doing this. We
Yeah.
want you to know that we're here in your town doing this. Come out and support what these guys are doing here. We should do one in the library too, and I'll make you
Yeah.
do this for me.